So this is like my first video ever. Let me just shut off Gary V here. My first video ever. I wanted to test it out, see how I look like on a video and how I sound on a video. Yeah, I have no idea what to talk about. I guess I can just let my thoughts flow out here and just say whatever I want and hopefully come across some kind of um, content that is valid value. I don't know. I have no idea. So yeah. So a little bit about myself. I am Thai. Moved here from Thailand at the age of 12, and so that's about what, almost 20 years ago. So you can do the math. I'm not young, so I think. But yeah, working a full-time job at the moment. Trying to find something else to do. I'm starting up a company as well. It's going to be somewhat of a catering company, right? Well, a little bit about my background first, right? I'm always been in the food business, right? My parents moved here from Thailand and opened up restaurants, right? Multiple restaurants. They worked as a cook, and from then on, developed a skill to run a restaurant. But unfortunately, it wasn't successful. But then again, um, the way I think about it is okay since I got something out of it. I got a lot out of it actually. So did they, right? They learn how to cook, but they don't have much of a experience in management. I believe that's why it wasn't successful. The few restaurants ago, right? So the first restaurant was in Westminster, California, and the one that they actually owned wasn't so successful. There's lawsuits. There's problem with the landlord, there's problem with partnerships, and so many things, right? So I've seen that growing up. I had the chance to work there as a well, I started from the back in the kitchen, right? I was washing the dishes first, clean and learning how to cook and things like that, and cutting vegetables. From then on, I moved towards the front of the house, which is the like cashier, waiter. I did deliveries. Um, and they titled me at my parent restaurant as a manager. And you know how that is. If you ever been a manager at uh, your your own business, you can pretty much um, be in any position. The managers in your family business, you don't call it a manager, right? I still have to listen to my parents, like so. I learned at an early age that even when you're a manager, so you're actually not like the boss of the boss. You still gotta try to find that balance between taking orders from from the owner or your superior and then try to implement it at at a level where your employee can understand, your associate can understand, while trying to compromise each way is there, right? You trying to make the most profit and cutting costs for people that's up your superior or your boss, and then at the same time try to not cut so much costs and push your associate so much that they having a hard time working and struggling at work. You want to really balance that So I learned that in an early age. I also learned about like a little bit about financial and things like that. But this is me just, you know, at the time I was young, 17, 18 um, years, and I was doing this with just, like go in and try it out and see if it works, see if it doesn't. I have no knowledge of it at all. Like just pure try it out. I at that point I was still partying. I did not care about anything so much, and so some concept I learned and picked up, and some it just like one ear here, go out the other. So it wasn't successful, and but then at that time, like like with no experience at all, I was titled manager of the store. So I was dealing with problems and things like that. But then my mindset wasn't there. I didn't care. I didn't care about the restaurant itself. I didn't care um, about how to market. I didn't care about cutting costs that much. I was there because I spoke a little bit of English, right? So some problems come in, I'm able to help out. Some customer comes in, so I learn about a little bit of that. And so after that, we went through some problems, and I had it. I didn't want to work with it. Like my parents like telling me one things and try to fix all the problems, and I didn't care. So I told them like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. So I at that point I was going to school, right? So I had a fortunate event that happens. Like my my ex decided to go to Disneyland for what is it, internship, right? The school had like an internship program for Disneyland, and my school has the same internship, right? The same program. So I joined just I just want to join. I got nothing else to do. I didn't care about life. I joined so I can be close to my ex, right? And at that point, I was still partying, but I joined Disneyland. That was my first experience in internship and working well with people in a structural way and like communicating the right way. And Disneyland has great programs for this, right? And so I joined. Um, the program itself is 8 month, right? 8 month internship. It was great for me. Like I was struggling, of course. I thought I was the shit. You know what I mean? I thought I was the shit. I was a manager at my parents' restaurant, and then so I was like, I went in there like I know how to do it all. Like I think I can figure it out. Like I did much harder things than this. I believe, anyways, right? So I went, and so I was a cashier at California Disney. Yeah, I was a cashier at a food and beverage fast service. I think that's what they call it. I don't remember, but I was a cashier right off the bat. Like I was struggling hard. Like the first couple weeks, I was like, man, everything is in detail, right? Everything is in detail. Which the restaurant that I was working before, my parents' restaurant, I did not develop that eye for detail at all. I did not know how specific you have to be in certain things, how much details mattered in food industry. And so I learned a lot from just being there consistently every single day, just learning. Um, the most the I should say like the most I got out of it, right? A couple weeks, just the pure um, knowledge was customer service, right? I mean, it's Disneyland, right? Customer service, the best place, the happiest place on earth, right? The customer service, of course, is world class, right? So that's what I went and learned how to deal with customer, how to make them happy, um, how to compromise, how to how to run the system, how to work the POS the right way, how to fix things, scheduling, things like that. I went and I was like, wow, this is really like, you know, down to the basic in a way that it's like detailed, and I like how that feels. I'm like, it's hard, but you can kind of predict what we able to do the whole day, like just okay, you go in, you clock in, you like, that 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 working 9 to 5 kind of thing really is there, right? So I got a lot out of it, and the benefits was awesome, right? You you get to take people into Disneyland, you get to enjoy Disneyland, and I guess the benefit was there for my friends. I mean, I'm not, believe it or not, I'm not a Disneyland type, right? So I don't go to amusement park. I I like I said, I joined because my ex wanted to be there, and my ex end up did not finish the program, right? 8 months. I think she her house was way too far, so she didn't get to finish, and I think she did 7 months of it. Me, on the other hand, just because I was there already, I was like, might as well. Let's just finish the program. So I did, right? I got the certificate and whatever, and then I came back out, and certificate works. I mean, like, um, it got me my my it got me a certificate where I can show to other businesses, like where if I want to get hired, I'm like, oh yeah, I worked at Disneyland, and everywhere I go, when I told them like, oh yeah, I work at Disneyland, people smiles. It's it's in, it makes an impact. Like when you tell them like, hey, yeah, Disneyland, you relate that feeling, right? That they okay, they're in Disneyland, and they can imagine that like, oh yeah, I'm in Disneyland while talking to this guy, like, oh, Disneyland is happy, this guy is happy, right? So they have that, they can think about that, right? And so after I came out, I still wasn't like very caring at all. I didn't care about life. Still partying, I go to raves and things like that. And so I went back to Thailand, and stayed there, right, for a while. Well, I had to go because as a male in Thailand, when you're about like age of 20, my family in Thailand is somewhat religious, right? So I went. I went, and then I became a monk for a couple months, right? So after I became a monk, I had to shave my eyebrows, shave my head, right, and everything, and learn the language. That's not Thai. The way they pray is not Thai. So we I learned the language. It was difficult because I can hardly read Thai, right? I can read it, but very, very slow, right? So I went back, and I had a mentor teach me how to act, how to behave, how to think like a monk, and then how to dress, fold the cloth over my body and things. And so I did that, and it was great. I loved it, right? It was peaceful. I did not have to think about anything. I pretty much escaped into another world, and it was peaceful. I learned how to meditate, and learn concepts of the Buddha, um, learn the disciplined way of being a monk. I came out, and then after I finished being a monk, I came out. My head was still bald, and my eyebrow was like gone, right? So I stayed in Thailand for a long while. At that point, something happened to me, right? Something has happened to me, and I just laid in Thailand with no goal at all, right? I have pretty much no life. I was walking around as a zombie, like thinking to myself, like, man, what is this? Like, why am I here? I start like at that point was when I was starting to start asking myself questions, right? Like, why are we here? Like, why are people here? Why am I just like roaming around, and I see all these people always going somewhere? Like, it got me questioning, like, what's the point? Like, how come these people have the drive to go somewhere, and how come I don't? Like, what, why? Like, why? Like, I'm just laying here. At that point in Thailand, well, in Thailand, it's very cheap to live, right? I already have houses in Thailand. I have large family members willing to feed me every day. For free. So I was living for free. My parents, like, at that point, sending some money back home so I can just stay. I was still leeching out my family. I got no income, nothing. I wasn't thinking about the future. So I was like, but that point, I stayed and just do nothing for like a couple months until I got sick, like really sick and tired of it, right? Like, I really thought, like, uh, why am I just kind of like lay here, why do people have goals and things like that, like, where and what do I want? I start asking myself some valid questions of like life questions and things like that. That's probably the point where I, like, my life turned. My life really turned. Like, man, I was I was a I was partying. Like, I got nothing in my life, and I came back to America. I'm like, at that point, I still like, I don't know what to do. I still have no idea what to do. So um, I went back to be a waiter at a my parents' restaurant, right? And one day my opportunity came, and I guess a a customer a customer at a customer at the restaurant came and offered me a job, right, when I was a waiter. And she works at a higher rank of a really large food industry, right? So she asked me like, hey, Tara, so you still doing school? So what's your plan and things like that? And I was just like, I had no idea that she was trying to get me to try to recruit me. So I was like, yeah, I'm just like, here, like a little bit of school and here, but I have no idea what I wanted to do. And I told her like, I'm just here, just working, getting some money, and I spend them all. I don't save anything. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just here. I get good money, but then I spend them all on like, you know, on like parties and drinks, And so she's like, well, I think I think you should start doing something. I'm like what? Like, I don't know where to go. And she's like, well, how about come work for me? How about come work for me for my company? You can be a manager there. You can go apply to be a manager there, right? So I was like, so what company are you? And she's like, oh yeah, the largest food chain, blah blah blah. And so I got nothing to do, so I tried it out. Like, at that point, I got some experiences from Disneyland already, right? So I had that to back me up in customer, like, customer service, and how to work in like a large corporate a little bit, right? So it was just an 8 month. I learned a lot of things, but I mean, it's nothing to be like, you got it. Like, I can apply for something big, So I went to try it out anyway. I dressed up nice. Um, I read about the company a little bit, and I didn't stress it out, So if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't care. So at that point, I went in there, and then I I bombed. It was my first like interview, and my first interview like ever, right? So just to recap, so far where I've been working at was just my family restaurant. I did not do interview, of course, for that. And then the internship for Disneyland, I didn't, you know, It wasn't an interview. It's pretty much just sign up and just go. And then so this was my first interview ever. Not I didn't do any prepping works. I did somewhat of a resume, but it sucks. Like it sucks, right? Because I never tried it before. So, um, and then so I got dressed up a little bit, and then I went try it out. Apply for a manager position. People was like, "Hey, man, you like you're applying for a manager position. You know what I mean? You got to dress up a little bit, right? You're not applying for something, just catchy or anything like that." So I was like, okay, fine. I did not know what the requirements for it was, like people, how strict it's going to be, and so I went and tried it out. I bombed it bad, right? So like they were asking me questions that I never asked myself. They were asking me about like they were testing my mindset at the moment, right? So like where are you and how do you respond to like tough questions and how you deal with situations that comes up and how fast you're able to think, how productive you are, things like that, right? So I um, I bombed it. I I didn't answer it correctly, I believe. I was bullshitting, right? So uh, and they were able to catch that right away. I mean, there are people that have been in the field for a really long time, so right out the bat they catch your lies, right? They catch your bullshitting. And so I came back. I can feel it already, and I'm probably not gonna get the position, right? So couple weeks gone by, no calls, nothing, and so they didn't call me back, and then the same customer came back to the when I was still waiting at my parents' round. It's like, no, yeah, nobody is interested. Your your resume was good. She was giving like constructive feedback, like a real good feedback that I can use. That's 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 something I really like about her. She was making a tough decision. She was a tough dog of the industry, and she was making um, um, the decisions, right? So I was like, okay, um, give me some more feedback, right? And she's like, no, yeah, no, they weren't interested about your your mentality. And I was at that point I was kind of mad, right? Because I was like, I thought I was a shit, right? I thought I could do it. I thought manager position. I'm here managing my parents' restaurant. I thought I was a shit. I work in a customer service. I know how to deal with customers, and I wanted to know what like what does what you guys as manager doing different than what I'm doing right now. I'm pretty sure I can do whatever they're doing. And she challenged me then, right? She's like, how about I have a position for you, but it's like just scooping food, like scooping food. You can go learn how to do it. At that point, see, at that point, I was like, okay, I'm working at my parents as a manager, right? I get good amount of money, right? Or I can drop my salary significantly, go scoop food at a large corporation uh, restaurant. But then something inside me is saying like, man, what's the difference? I want to know. I want to prove them wrong that I can do the work. That I can. I go in there and I can probably do better than the managers that they have there. So I told my parents, I'm like, I'm gonna go do this. So I went, right? At that age, I went, scoop food, learn whatever I needed to learn. I went inside, and man, I couldn't like. I thought I was a manager. I was nowhere near being a manager, right? Totally different, totally different. Like even with this experience that I have in Disneyland, it's still different, right? Because Disneyland, I wasn't a manager. I was just like a clerk, register clerk. So I doing register, just clock in and out. That's real easy. So I went in there and I learned the mindset of the managers. Like I learned like how do they delegate work, like the eyes for detail, how clean, how neat, how organized, all of that financials. And man, these are the things that managers has to do, right? Tough decision that managers has to make. How to coach, how to deal with not just the people outside your, how to hire, how to fire, how to deal with your associate, right? How to talk to them, how to do all that, like in the right way of doing it. You don't just go, hey, I'm gonna fire you. There's a right way to do things, right? There's a step and the process to everything, and there are reason why the process is there. So you learn about that too, not just following the process, right? So lot of things I learned, and I'm still learning because I'm still with the company right now. It's been years, like 4 years now. I'm still with the company. I'm still learning. And after I left, my family restaurant couldn't survive, right? So they sold they sold the restaurant, and so they sold the restaurant, and they didn't give up. They opened another one, but this one is a lot smaller, right? The first one was 80 to 90% capacity. This one is just a little small to go place with like 4 people operation. Like they can run with just 4 people. So the cost for labor is really low, right? The cost for labor is really low, and they're able to uh, maintain an okay, I wouldn't say the best, just an okay food cost. So they're able to survive, and now they're just surviving. They're not doing enough marketing, right? I'm pretty sure with marketing they'll be so much better, but that's another case. So I'm still working at this company right now, right? And throughout the years I'm with this company, I'm trying to find out what do I want, right? What do I want? The company is really like put a focus on people, right? So I love that about this company. It's really focused on people, and we get coached a lot. Like, okay, so what do you want? How do you like? What do you see yourself in the future? And like, things like that. So I from then on, I keep asking myself, developing, asking myself, what do I want? What do I want? And so from then on, I start developing a little by little and start learning little by little. And every step of the way, I get close to the things that I want, or at least I get the general path and the idea of like, what do I want. So, and I'm still working towards that, but now I'm a lot clearer and closer to the things that I want. So, yeah. Well, that's then I'm gonna go to the next videos after this. So this has been like a 30-minute first video, which is not bad. I was able to talk the whole way, introduce myself a little bit. Wow. Okay, let's just watch and see what I need to improve. Learning process.